Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark TV. You know who I am. I'm your host, Dr. Angela Butchester. I am so excited today to have you here because you know what I like to do on the show. I want to enlighten, I want to inspire, I want to empower you to become your best self. And that is exactly what my guest wishes as well. My guest today is Catherine Kennedy. We are talking about her book, The Light of the World. So you know what I'm going to tell you to do. Go on, get comfy, get cozy. We are about to get started. Hello, Catherine, and thank you so much for joining me here on Daily Spark TV.
Hello, it's a pleasure to be here.
I cannot wait to talk to you about your book. But before we do, as is tradition, we always give our guests an opportunity to introduce themselves to perhaps the few people out there that may be unfamiliar with you or with your work. So first question, can you tell us a little bit about you? What makes you you?
Well, all my life I've had this healing ability, and I know it comes from God. I don't take any credit. I'm just the useful instrument. I also do trance healing, and I sit in trance and Jesus shines his face over mine, and then he brings through the relatives and loved ones of the people who are sitting with me. So the evidence is there for them to see. You don't have to take my word for it. I've been experimenting recently, and I did the trance online with various people, including Catalea, and she saw Jesus, and she saw her relatives, her grandfather and her aunt. And this is what I am able to do, and shortly, not yet, I am going to be able to do it online for people all over the world. At the moment, I haven't got it set up yet.
Absolutely. Now, being an author, is that something that you've always wanted to do, or did you find that the opportunity simply presented itself along your life's journey?
I never had any ambition to be a writer, but the spirit world prompted me to write my first book, and Jesus instructed me or guided me to write The Light of the World. He actually chose the title, and he's just wanting people to know that he is, and this is the way he's using lots of people in the world who meet Jesus or have visions. With me, he's using me in this way. I sit and he appears over my face, and many people have seen him.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Such an amazing story. I love that. Now, I love that you said the light of the world, the title of the book, that you feel that Jesus really entitled that book, and that is awesome sauce. Thank you so much for following that prompting and going through with that. I kind of understand what you mean by that, and I think many of our viewers probably do as well. When you pray about something and you feel that God, I call them those God downloads, when we're given the information and we know exactly what we're supposed to do, it becomes such an amazing thing. I love it. I love it. Now, when it comes to healing, many people, they've heard of people that can heal. They know that it's possible, thanks to the stories that we read in the Bible, but we never really get a chance to talk to someone who has that ability. When did you first become aware that you were able to heal? Do you remember what age you were, or if there was a particular something that was going on in the world and you discovered it?
Well, I was a teenager when I first realized that I had this ability. A woman an older woman gave me a word of knowledge and told me that she could see my grandmother standing beside me and that she had been a healer and I also was a healer. And so after that, I had plenty of opportunity to use my healing ability. So I had a boutique and then I had a guest house. So many people came to visit me or to stay in my guest house. And when they came into the house, lots of them could sense something or they had a problem. And I offered to give them healing and they would be healed. It's happened to so many people. I'm not the type, I couldn't do this if it didn't work because I know it works. And Jesus didn't stop healing in the days of the Bible. He's always continued to use people to do his work. He needs our hands on earth to do his work. And that's what he does. I'm not unique. There's lots of healers in the world. But as far as I know, I don't know if I'm the only one in the world who sits with people and Jesus shines his face over mine. They see Jesus, sometimes he comes through with his crucified face, which is full of anguish, with black hair, lank hair, the way he would be when he was on the cross. And then some days, sometimes he comes through in the one session, he will come through and sit up with a beautiful face of Jesus. And often he talks to me and he will say to me, I am going to glow golden and I am going to glow all the different colors. And he starts to do this. And the people sitting with me then say, your face is glowing golden, it's Jesus. And he's turned red, blue, yellow. He does this. And one woman I remember in particular, he said to me, I am going to show her my crown of thorns. And there were a few people in the room. And this particular friend gasped, I can see his crown of thorns. And Jesus said to me, this is my gift to Margaret. Margaret lives in Mexico and she helps out the sisters there with the poor children of Mexico. So she's a good woman, and this was Jesus's gift to her, a reward, shall we say, for all the good work that she does. And she saw this, and the other people in the room didn't see. They saw Jesus's face, but they didn't see the crown of thorns. That was a special message to her.
That is so awesome. And, you know, I love how there was something very special just for Margaret. My viewers, my listeners have heard me say that many times when we are given a vision, or in your case, the vision, sometimes it's for us and other people may not understand or they may not see it because it's not for them. And I love how God gives us those bits and pieces that are just for us to keep us encouraged, to keep moving forward and to continue to do the work that he has called us to do. I love it. Now, when you are in a state of trance, or you are sharing with someone, how does that feel for you, for your person? How does your physical body feel during that time?
Well, the one thing is that I am not actually in a trance. I use trance as, I don't know what other way I can describe it. I am very aware of what's going on around me. And so I don't feel anything. I just hear their voices in my head. When Jesus speaks to me, it's in my head. And the way he shows me that it's him that was an example when he said, I am going to glow golden now. And he talks to me in this way, and the people sitting are the witnesses to it all. But I know what's happening. I'm not in a deep trance state. And the reason I think is the spirit world, when they use you, they will use you and they will be guided by what is best for you. Because when I first started sitting, to do this work, the one thing that I wanted was never to lose control. I never wanted them to take over me completely. I always wanted to be in control, and Jesus has respected my wish. So I know what's going on.
I love that. I love that. Now, for some people, when we think about someone in your position that is able to help guide spiritually, if you will, we think of only that reference that we have from the movies. Many times when someone is helping us communicate spiritually, be it to God or to someone, a loved one that has passed on, there's a bit of, and I'm gonna say spookiness that happens in the movie. The light flashes, the candle blows out, the room becomes cold, so on and so forth. For those that are experiencing a visit with you, would you say that the movies have it right, have it somewhat right? How
Not
does
at
does
all.
the energy change in any way?
The movies, they make scary movies and make out that these things are dark and dangerous and frightening, and it's not at all like that. If you were sitting with me and you see the face of Jesus, and some people see Mary comes through and gives them a blessing, and she comes through holding the baby Jesus, and people see the energy rising from my hands. It's a peaceful feeling. And if you, as Margaret saw her mother who had passed on, and her mother came through as she was as a young woman. This is the other thing about the souls who come through. They often, because they tell me they're only around 30 years of age. And the other day I did an online trance from a woman who lives in Scotland. It's an island of Mull, which is hundreds of miles away from here. But she came on, I needed someone to practice with. And she said herself that she expected it to be scary, but she said it was not scary at all. It was very comforting to see her mum and dad. I think they just passed over in the last year, and she was desperate to see them. And they came through and talked with her, and she's so happy. And that's what it's all about. It's helping people to understand that when you die, your soul does go to heaven. That it's to comfort and help people. That's the reason I do it.
Time for us to go to break. But when we get back, I definitely want to continue this conversation. Before we go to break, can you remind everyone, please, what is the title of your book? Where can we get a copy? And of course, how do we stay in contact with you?
The book is called The Light of the World. And how I came to use that title, I wrote out a few different titles for the book. And Jesus informed me that the light of the world was the one that he liked. Also, I'm on Amazon, and also my website, which is Catherine-Kennedy.com.
Alrighty, everyone. Now you know where you can get a copy of the book. We'll be back. We are back. Thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark TV. My guest today is Catherine Kennedy, and we're talking about her book, The Light of the World. Catherine, thank you so much for giving that example of that one person that visited with you, that had a session with you. I think that most people think that it is exactly like the movies, that it's a scary, dark, spooky thing that's going to happen, and to hear that it isn't that way, and that it really is a gift from God is so reassuring, I'm sure, for so many people. Now, what happens, or if I understand correctly, arms and legs are raised? What goes on there?
Well, in the beginning, when I sat, we called it sitting in the silence, and I sat whilst my friend Jackie and my friend William sat with me, They've been sitting with me for the last 8 years. And what happened was I was in a recliner chair, and I felt my body being manipulated, and my legs were pulled straight out. I feel the spirits doing this, and my hands go up like this. And then they saw the face of Jesus. And the friend who saw me the first time was a Church of Scotland minister, a very good Christian man. And he saw Jesus's face, and Jackie saw him. So the first time it happened, Jesus made me enact his crucifixion. And all the time this was happening, his face was shining on mine. So when he was in Gethsemane, he had me kneel down and I was praying, and I felt very anxious and very full of fear. But William, who knew the Bible inside out, knew exactly. He said, "You're in Gethsemane," he said to Jesus. And Jesus said, "I am." And he said he was so full of fear when he was in Gethsemane. And I felt this fear, because that's when Jesus had asked his Father if he could, maybe get out of the situation he was in. Obviously, that's not the words he used, but William quoted. So thereafter, he guided me to sit in the chair, and we started to call it the crucifixion mode. And he put me in the position that he would be crucified in. And then at the end, he enacted, I was miming what Jesus went through on the cross. I didn't feel pain, physical pain, but I felt the mental anguish that he had gone through. And at the end of, after he took me through this process, he screamed a loud yell. I didn't think I could scream as loudly as that. And William verified it. He said, that's what happened at the end of, before his spirit left his body, Jesus screamed out loud. Now, I didn't know that. I had read the Bible, but there's lots of bits in the Bible that I hadn't remembered. And so he was a good witness, William, my friend, and explained what was happening. So, and he does it now. He doesn't take me through the crucifixion mode, but before, when I sit in what we call the trance, he lifts my legs out and he puts my arms up, because it's reassuring to me that it's Jesus who's bringing through the souls. I don't conjure the dead up. I don't have any power at all to do that. And I can assure you it's not spooky. When people see Jesus's face, he is Jesus. So he makes sure that you know who he is. You don't think, oh, who's that or who's this? You see his face clearly. And Jackie's been looking on the face of Jesus for 8 years now. We do the trance maybe once a week. And he sometimes shows his face three-dimensional, and he sometimes comes through with the face of the Turin shroud. He lets us know. He comes through once or twice. He's come through as a boy of 12 years old, when he was the day he disappeared in the temple and Joseph and Mary were looking for him. So he's come through with different faces of different stages in his life. Now, it's so unbelievable. I know you need to be mad to make this story up if you can't prove that it's true. And I know I can prove it with anyone. If you sit with me online, you will see the faces of your loved ones, and you'll see Jesus. He hasn't let me down yet. He said he never would, and he would always be with me. So I have to do this work. I'm not the type of person that wants fame. I like to blend in the background and not be put out there. But Jesus, for the last few years, he says, I'm going to catapult you out into the world, and you will do great work in my name. And this is, well, I would say being on your television program is being catapulted out into the world. For me, it is, because I'm the sort of person who would just like to live quietly, and I'm not after fame. But I'm doing this because Jesus has asked me to do this, and I wouldn't say no to Jesus, would you?
I love how you are very open to the calling that has been placed on your life. And we all have been called to do something that brings us closer to Christ. And I love that yours may be different than mine, which may be different from someone else's, but yet we are all functioning exactly the way that God has called us to do it. And I love that. Now, I only have a few more questions for you. And the next question is about the book itself. When you were putting the book together, did you have a particular audience in mind? Meaning, did you write it in a way that our high schoolers would be able to read along as well? Or would you say you should be perhaps older than college age to really understand the story that you've shared with us?
Well, probably college age, not children. The book is a series of vignettes of the trances that I did. And when I write in my book that really the spirit world, the spirit realm, the heavenly realm wrote this book, we recorded every trance session and then we typed them out, and that's what I used to write the book. Jesus said to me to write this book. He wanted me to put it out into the world. And the one thing I do know about Jesus, he does take you out of your comfort zone. You see, he's certainly taking me out of mine.
Absolutely. And it's so funny that you say that, because people people will say that it's like, I don't know why God wants me to do this particular thing. I said, well, if we think about the story of Moses, and Moses was the same way. Are you sure you want me to be the leader? I mean, look at, at who you're calling. I don't know about that, God. But I think that in that, boy, does he stretch us, does he mold us, does he allow us to become so much more than we thought that we could be, simply because it is not about our human selves, but it is about spirit moving through us. So you are so right about that. Now, as far as reading the book is concerned, I know that many authors will author a book in a way that you read it, what I call from cover to cover, meaning page after page after page. Some will put it chapter by chapter, others will suggest even like a devotional, read so much of it, put it down, allow that to really get into your spirit before you move on. Would you say that the way that you set the book up in the vignettes, that you should read it kind of like chapter by chapter, vignette by vignette? Or what's your suggestion there? What's the best way to read the book?
Well, vignette by vignette, it's describing all the trances that I did, say, over a year or 2 years. And I mean, we were enthralled by what was happening. And when we discussed it, I used to say, no one's ever going to believe this. How will they believe it? I can hardly believe it myself. But it's just a record of what has happened. And can I just say, you mentioned Moses. Moses came through in the trance, and he came through with his face shining inside. We found out later that it was a tabernacle. And there's no recording, no visual recording of it, but there's a recording of it when he came through and said who he was. And I know that Moses was a meek sort of man, and he wondered why he was chosen. Well, I'm that sort of person too. I'm humble and meek. I'm not weak, I'm very strong. But sometimes people they think if you're meek that you're weak, and they make a mistake sometimes judging me in that way. And I was actually the same. But one of the things when I was younger, I was searching for Jesus, and I didn't have any proof, and I asked him for proof. And years later, when people were being healed at my laying on of hands, Jesus said to me, I've always been with you. Who do you think is doing the healing? And of course I said, well, you. He said, but you have your evidence. I've shown you many times that I am with you. But when I was younger, you listen to other people and they say, oh, it's not true. He was a prophet. he's not God. And I was going through all that, and I was searching for him, and I really searched for Jesus. I went to church. I asked as many people, and no one could answer me. They couldn't tell me about heaven. They didn't know. Basically, people just say that all the time, but they don't have any proof. And I wanted evidence. So I searched for this evidence. And I think Jesus has rewarded me because of my diligence. I was determined. I wanted to know what happened, because I think death is cruel. And when I meet people who are suffering bereavement, I ask God, why do you do this? Why do you put us on earth and our children die, or our mum and dad dies, and we are miserable, and you have to answer me. And he did. This is how he's answered me. He's now using me in this really great way, because I like to be able to help people and to help them if they're grieving, to show them that their child is in heaven, mum and dad's safe. And I think that's what everyone wants. So and I intend to try my best to get out there into the world by doing it online.
I have to agree with you there. I think everyone just wants that reassurance and to know that their loved ones have, in fact, truly made it over to the other side and that they are with their Father God. I love it. I love it. Well, Catherine Kennedy, thank you so much for spending time with me here on Daily Spark TV today. Before I let you go, if you could remind everyone one last time, what is the title of your book? Where can we get a copy? And how do we stay in contact with you?
The Light of the World, and you can get it on Amazon, or my website is Catherine-Kennedy.com. And I have a video on there of myself talking about both my books.
Alrighty, everyone. Now you know where you can get a copy of the book. I want to thank you again for spending time with me here on Daily Spark TV. I hope that we have enlightened, inspired, and empowered you to be your best self. Until next time, everyone, remember, you are blessed in the Lord. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
We're home during COVID-19, but we're not alone. New Life Pastoral Counseling can help. For affordable Christian counseling, visit newlifepastoralcounseling.com or call 562-209-2083 today.
Welcome to Daily Spark TV. Are you an author with a faith-based book? Be a guest. Serious about your product or service and want to try something new? Sponsor an episode. I see you're ready to get started. So visit drangela.chester.com. Thanks again for watching Daily Spark TV.